Hello, my darlings, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Mariya. This channel is about spirituality. Please subscribe below so we can be YouTube friends. This is my January energy update. January is a beautiful month, so stick around to find out what are the energies that January has in store for us, what are some of the challenges and the blessings of the month, and how can you best move through that. Before we dive in, I wanted to remind you that we're just days away from Thrive, my course on abundance, money, and manifestation. Thrive is taking place over 3 weekends starting January 11th. And this is the first full-on curriculum that I'm teaching around abundance and money. I have been excited and thrilled to bring this body of work to you. It is a continuation of all of the keys that you have been privy to through my book, 72 Keys to Manifestation, or An Ancient Path of a Modern Day Alchemist. This is a deep dive. We're going to dive into your ancestral patterns. We're going to dive into your personal money blocks. We're going to dive into how the energy of abundance should work in your body and how you can go from resistance and things being challenging, how you can go from perhaps hitting your money ceiling towards blissful living and earning more money than you ever thought was real. What I'm going to be teaching during the 3 weekends that we spend together is an accumulation of what I have learned over the past 11 years, building my company from zero to a 9-figure business. Not only that, I think the most important, the most special part of the course is everything that I've learned since my awakening. All of the information that my guides have shared with me and everything that I had to put in practice. So now I actually have a blueprint of the things that I did that helped really unlock abundance in my life. And it would be my greatest joy and honor to guide you towards the same level of earnings if that is your aspirations. But there's so much more to abundance than just money. And so that's why it's a full-on curriculum. Abundance is, having a wealth of love in your life, having amazing connections, amazing people. And that's why it is just a very beautiful teaching that I cannot wait to share with you. Check out thisismariya.com for more info. All right, you guys, January. I would call January the month of hope, the month of new beginnings, and a fresh perspective. So these are, overall, a very, very beautiful month. January is going to be quite high energy. We're going to walk into January very hopeful, very optimistic, feeling like we can just really breeze through 2025. It's going to feel like we see not just the light at the end of the tunnel, it's going to feel like we see light everywhere. It's going to feel, again, very upbeat, and we're going to start on a high key. We're going to start on a high note, which is really beautiful. The first 2 weeks of January are very seamless. They are very, very, it's like an upward movement, but it's like an upward momentum. You're going to feel like you're making progress. You're going to feel like things are aligning for you. There's like the first 2 weeks of January are really, really good, you guys. So blissful. Just the right level of work and work-life balance, work and play. Not too crazy on the work front just yet. A little bit of an easeful start to the work year. At the same time, January has all of these like fluffy energies at the beginning. It's in some ways almost the energies of spring. So like that very optimistic, like a very heartful, like opening, like almost like the bud of the flower opening. So that's the first 2 weeks. And you're going to notice that, relationships are very easy. Things just go your way. January is a very busy month, meaning you're going to have a lot of energy. The demand on your time is going to be quite high, meaning there are all of these things that are going to be happening. You're going to be invited places. You're going to have to say yes, no to things. It's a busy beginning of the year. Very, not intense busy, but like the right level of busy. It's like almost pleasant busy. Then once we get into the middle of the month is when we start to get the fire energies in. This is a little bit of a charged fire. So towards the middle of the month, you may start getting strange mood swings. You may start feeling a little bit uneasy and like you're doing a lot, but you're not able to move as fast towards your goals as you'd like. And that's a little bit of a theme for the rest of January, where you feel like you're doing a lot, but you're not quite getting as far as you'd like to be. And so there's a lot of impatience. The energy of that impatient fire are coming through middle to end of January. The energy of like maybe you or other people in your life becoming a little bit more hot-tempered. There's a little bit of a short fuse. There's a little bit of low tolerance for how people behave. There is not a lot of patience for injustice. Like, for instance, if somebody asks you to do them a favor, like a colleague or something, but you know they're really trying to take advantage, things like that may really get to you. Pay attention to your mood swings. It's really that fire energy that comes to cleanse, but in the moment it could feel quite debilitating and quite like the type of fire that can send you off kilter, which is not really the intention of that fire. What does help quiet that fire is going a level deeper, because it's like what is going to be happening in your life is going to have a deeper layer underneath. So you almost like need to lift the veil and be like, why do I get triggered here? Why does this person saying this thing or behaving in this way, why is it so painful to me? And the answers would often lead back to childhood and the relationships. The relationship that you had with one of your parents, for most of you, is going to be your dad. So there's something around having to solve for your relationship with your father, your relationship with father figures, your relationship with masculinity in general, and authority figures in the month of January. And it's not always going to feel like you are in a position of power. It's actually the feelings of helplessness and feeling like, like when you're like a little baby and the adult lifts you up into the air and you're like wiggling you're just wiggling your arms and like dangling your feet, but you're not able to do anything about it because the adult in the room is so much more in control of what's happening. They're holding you, you're not holding them. That's how it's going to feel a little bit. So that like you may need to, or you may have to dive deeper into that learned helplessness and the feeling of not being in control. Do some deep shadow work. That is what January is bringing up for humanity. And also check in with yourself. Why is it so important for you to have control? Why does having control really matter to you? And who do you want to have control over? Or if in this case, it may not be a who, but a what, like the circumstances of the world, etc. So dive deep into those patterns where you felt threatened as a child, and realize that you have to become your own caretaker. Realize that you're not going to be able to trust the outside world until you trust yourself. And so another theme of January is trust. Trusting others, trusting the world, trusting the flow, trusting your path, trusting the questions that you ask and the answers that you're getting, trusting the guidance that you receive in the moment, trusting the synchronicities, etc. So the universe is going to want you to pay attention in the month of January. Pay attention to the things that are aligning for you and not aligning for you, and follow the signs. It's almost like the universe is testing you at how good you are at reading between the lines and following through on that message and the communications that you're getting. And so January is not about pushing, but January is about leaning in the right spots, in the right places. It's about aligning more so than about pushing. And if you're able to align, if you're able to tune into the flow of what is and what the universe is telling you, you would notice that January is becoming so much smoother for you. And you would notice that that need to control subsides. And what's going to reemerge is trust, actually. Because one thing that is going to be quite necessary in January is reframing. If you think your world is negative in any way, or if I were to ask you to describe the world, how you describe the world is actually how you describe yourself, believe it or not. Because your world is a reflection of your own energies, nobody else's. And so the more negativity you have in describing your world, the more resistance you have to what is. And the only cure for resistance is unconditional acceptance. So be in the practice of accepting others the way that they show up, accepting circumstances the way that they're meant to come, and Do you understand that sometimes in order to move forward, you have to say yes to some discomfort? So that is also the lesson of January. Be okay with the fact that January is not going to feel like you've made great progress. It's also a month where you're going to be you're going to be pulled in different directions. It's like there are all of these paths in front of you and you do a little bit of each, but not enough of any of them to make a difference or make a dent. And so there's a little bit of that frustration towards the end of the month of like, where did January go? I can't believe it's over already. What do I have to show for it? And it's a pretty drastic contrast to how the month would start and how the month would end. And I'll tell you this, be okay with a pause. Be okay with things taking a little bit longer. Because what this is usually a gathering of energy. January is gathering energy so that the transformations of February and March could transpire. And don't make January for being the gatherer of energies. Just like the ocean, the tide comes and the tide goes. If we were to blame the ocean every time the tide left the shore, we could never really fully experience the tide coming back, right? If we were to blame it and be like, that's it, no forgiveness over here. But we are actually like that with ourselves sometimes. When we expect ourselves to be go, go, go and produce and make things happen all the time, and then we don't really give ourselves any breathing room. So the second half of January is actually really good to stop pushing the pedal so hard and just allow yourself to zoom out and understand that pausing is okay. Slowing down is okay. It's okay to take some me time, you time. It's okay to not have to produce. You are a cyclical being. You're moving through the ebbs and the flows. And the only way you could believe that you live in a world where you can deliver all the time is if you're living in a complete illusion, right? And at the expense of your resource and with a bunch of stimulants, I'm sure. And by the way, there's always payback, right? Like it cannot be like that in perpetuity. And so just understand that the time of January, especially for those living in the Northern Hemisphere, is a beautiful time to go easy on yourself and not have to push so hard, go into a little bit of a hibernation. One thing I will tell you about the energies of January for the Northern Hemisphere is that this is the time where you're supposed to reset your masculine energies. Remember the ones that go, go, go all the time, all of those overachiever energies? Those are the ones that need to be reset in the month of, well, usually December, January, February, sometime during those 3 months. What do I mean by masculine energies? I mean, there's a full-on process of, resetting the energies, but in the very least, you should pick 3 days where you do the absolute least. And I mean like the absolute least, where like you don't go an extra mile and you do the bare minimum. And if you are, somebody that's supposed to produce things or like get results, like allow yourself to just go easy. Like if you can take 3 days off in the month of January just to do the little hibernation, do so, because that would really help reset your system. I always find that by the time the winter rolls around, our inner masculine is just so drained that it can barely carry on without stimulants such as coffee. And it's so depleted because we expect ourselves to be able to produce all the time. We're the 9-to-5 culture for the most part. And because of that, our masculine gets extremely drained because it's our masculine that has to show up on a schedule. It's our masculine that has to hit the goals. It's our masculine that has to, pursue all of these dreams, ideals, and aspirations. And it's usually our masculine that gets completely drained in the winter. So do take the time to reset it. And by the way, you may choose not to. Obviously, the choice is yours. But you would notice that not much is happening in terms of progress. Not much progress is happening towards the end of the month anyway, right? So go gentle, go easy. Self-care, always important. If you can do some travel in January, it's just a very, very blissful activity. Not that there's ever a bad time for travel, but second half of January travel is really beautiful and can be very heart feeling, very heartwarming. Yeah, and given that it's a little bit of a pause time, travel is probably the best way to spend the end of January. Let's look at the blessings and the challenges of the month. The blessing of January is that, I mean, it is still filled with hope, right? It's the new beginning. It's that fresh start energy. It's very beautiful in the sense that a lot of you are going to feel like, hey, I got this. It's so nice to start the year. I can start fresh. I have all of these things that I want to accomplish. And there's all of this hope and all of these faith and all of this belief in yourself and all of these like very light and fluffy energies of hope and gratitude even that are quite beautiful. So especially the first 2 weeks, very blissful January, very blessed. January is good for making investments. If you've been seeking to invest in anything really, January may be the month for you to find that right investment. Investment properties, if you were looking to, make an investment in real estate, that's really good. January is good for moving. If you can move in the month of January, that's really fantastic. I see a lot of people being aligned with their soul homes in the month of January. Like really just, if you're moving in the month of January or packing to move, know that you're going to move into a very beautiful spot and your heart is going to be happy there. If you're about to sign the lease, know that that's the right spot, the right time to sign the lease. And the move itself is going to go very, very seamless. For whatever reason, the spirit guides that are coming through right now want you to get a house planned. I'm just the messenger, don't shoot the messenger. If you've been looking to get a house planned, this is your sign. If you have not been looking to get a house planned, this is your sign. There is something about in the month of January buying a house planned that really helps you connect with that plant, because it's almost like house plants are looking for their soul people. And that plant is going to be aligned to you and could help you with all kinds of things from healing to manifesting to just evening out your energies. Ooh, adopting a pet is really good in January. They're showing me like all of these dogs that could be adopted by the group of people watching this, or kitties. I'm a cat person, always rooting for any cats to be adopted. But I see people adopting dogs in this group. So if you've been looking to adopt a dog, you guys, some really pretty cutie pies are waiting for you. What else is January good for? Creative work, specifically writing anything. A lot of strides if you're writing a book. If you are just starting a book, January is a good time to start a book, to write those first few pages, the table of contents, all of the good stuff. Challenges of January. Some relationships, romantic relationships. It may not be easy to see eye to eye. Some problematic spots could resurface in your romantic relationships. If you have kids, not the best month, around having patience for them and what they do. So there may be a little bit of like a few feathers ruffled in that department. Other challenges in the month of January, I see some unexpected expenses. Some unexpected expenses coming in January that you did not see coming, either something needing repair or just something coming out of the woodworks that you did not expect. So that's probably not really good, especially I know that people usually don't enter January having the deepest pockets ever after the December holidays and all of the gift giving. So it's just a little bit of that financial strain. But also know that the tides are going to shift and the tides are going to change. Not a good time to borrow. Not a good time to borrow money. You're better off trying to cut your expenses instead of borrowing in the month of January. What else is coming through? Be very careful in signing documents. Check everything. There is a possibility of like certain things being brushed under the rug. And especially since like this is going to be a month with a lot of people moving, just do read the fine print on those lease agreements and everything else. Just make sure that you understand what you're signing up for. Just be careful what you sign. Yeah. And just be careful driving. That's the other part that just came up for this group. Just be careful driving. Don't drink and drive. You know that's always the rule. But listen, you guys, if you're hearing this, definitely don't drink and drive in January, please. Stay safe. Other than that, no other warnings that I can sense for the month of January for this group. Do know that it's a beautiful energy. We get to start fresh. January is a great time this year to do a vision board, to start manifesting, to start making meaningful shifts in how you think about manifesting as well, adopting that as a practice. Maybe even getting 72 Keys to Manifestation, my book. I think that it just fits right in with the energies of January. Beautiful month overall, the month of hope. Don't we all need that? If you have been sensing the energies, please let me know in the comments how you're feeling, because I know some of these energies start to land up to 7 days prior to January, so you've been feeling them. Other than that, I'm sending you all a big virtual hug, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, loves!